All right, this morning for religion, we're going to work on our very first saint in our Catholic saint coloring book. So you're going to need this coloring book and your markers. You can get those things ready, and I am going to read you about our first saint. She goes by a couple different names. She can be called Mother Teresa or Saint Teresa of Calcutta. Her name is Teresa, but the city where she lived and where she worked and where she helped people is called Calcutta. And she's also called Mother Teresa because she acted like a mother to so many people, taking care of them like a mother would. There she is, Mother Teresa, this story's called. Mother Teresa spent most of her life helping others. She fed the hungry, she nursed the sick, and she nursed the dying. So to nurse means to take care of someone. So she helped people that were hungry, people that were very sick, and people that were dying. She never wanted attention, but people started to hear about her work. Did you hear about this woman named Teresa? All the people would tell other people, and Mother Teresa became famous around the world. As a child, Mother Teresa's name was Agnes. Ooh, it's tricky. Agnes Gonca Boiaggio. Agnes Gonca Boiaggio. That's tricky. She was born on August 26th, 1910, in a country called Macedonia. And she lived here in Skopje. So there she was when she was a little girl. Her name was Agnes. She grew up in the country of Macedonia. Agnes prayed with her family. She sang in the church choir. She liked to read and thought maybe she would want to be a writer when she grew up. Her parents taught her about kindness. Agnes and her mother took food to neighbors who had none. They helped others who were sick. So her parents taught her how to care for people that don't have as much as them. They took food to people that needed food. They helped people that were sick. Do you maybe do some of those things with your family? Do you help people that don't have food? Maybe you bring food to the food pantry at church. Maybe you give food to the homeless. Do you ever help somebody that's sick? So there's Agnes, and there's her mother, and there's her father. Agnes's father died when she was only 8 years old. This left her family with not very much money. But Agnes and her mother kept helping others who even had less. So her daddy died. They didn't have a lot of money, but even then, they still helped people who had less than they did. When Agnes was 12 years old, she heard about a group of women called nuns who helped the poor. And she thought, I want to be a part of a group of women who help the poor. I want to become a nun. Let's see, this is how it was when she was a little girl. Things were different than they were today. You can just tell by the pictures that they're very old-fashioned. And life wasn't like it is now when she was a little girl. People traveled on train, on foot, on bicycle, by a horse. So she learned about the nuns. She decided that's what I want to do. So for 6 years, she prayed about it. God, that means she's talking to God about it. God, I really want to become a nun. I really want to help the people that are poor and that are sick. And so when she turned 18, she decided to do it. She went to a place called, let's see, I think she went to India. She went to Ireland, and she joined a group of nuns called the Laredo Sisters. And after 6 weeks in Ireland, learning how to be a sister or a nun, she was sent to India to do her work. And Calcutta is in India, the city. It takes many years to become a nun. So Agnes got more training in India, and she chose the name Teresa for her new life. So when a woman becomes a sister or a nun, sometimes they change their name. And that's when she changed her name from Agnes to Teresa. Sister Teresa began teaching in a city known as Calcutta. The school was inside the grounds of the convent where she lived. She said students made learning fun. So she was a teacher, just like I'm a teacher. And she liked having the children make learning fun. And then she made a vow, which is a promise, to become a nun for life. And she became Mother Teresa. She was happy, but outside the walls where she lived, there were people that had no food. There were people that had no homes. Mother Teresa believed that God was calling her to help those people. Look closely at this picture. Does that look like somewhere you would want to live? Does that look like how you would want to live? It says, hungry children search for food in a pile of garbage. But in Calcutta, that's what it was like there. And she thought, oh, I want to help these people. And so she did. Mother Teresa left the convent. So the convent was where she was living. She left the convent. It was hard to leave her home and her friends, but she was ready to begin her work with the poor. So instead of wearing her black habit, this is called, she wore a sari. This was how the women of India dressed. So there she is wearing her sari, and the women of India also wear them. Mother Teresa began her work, and she opened a small school. Soon, other women came to work with her. They wanted to be nuns too. And so she started a group called the Missionaries of Charity. That means people who help those who don't have as much. They were a new group. So they went out into the streets. They helped the people who were hungry. They helped the people who were sick. They helped the people who were dying. Very cool. So there's lots of things about her. When she was little, she played an instrument called a mandolin. She became a citizen of India. This is the flag of India. She's been on stamps. She won a very special award called the Nobel Peace Prize. She worked hard. She took care of the sick babies. Mother Teresa's work grew. She began helping people in other countries, not just India, but all over. As she got older, she had more and more health problems, so she was sick herself, but she never stopped working. She died on September 5th in 1997, and she was 87 years old, and she helped people until right before she died that were sick, that were hungry, that were dying. She had a smile for everyone. And in 2016, she was named a saint. It meant she had lived a holy life. That means very close to God. And you have to be in heaven to become a saint, remember? And there's still the Missionaries of Charity, the group of sisters she started. They're still out there in the world doing work with the people who are hungry, with the people who are sick, with the people who are dying. All right, so we are going to color her today in our book. Make sure you have your book out. You can get your markers, and we're going to open up just to the very first page. And her special day is on September 5th. That's going to be this weekend. And we're going to make her look like how she actually looked. Some days I'm going to let you color your saints however you want. Some days I'm going to make you color them how they looked. So I'm looking at her and I'm noticing she has white on her sari and she has blue on her sari. I'm also noticing a little cross. That's a little crucifix that has Jesus on it. So first I'm going to get my brown marker and I'm going to color right here the crucifix. I'm gonna put my brown away and I'm gonna get my blue marker. I'm gonna notice that on her sari, around her head, we have white, blue, white, blue, white, blue, kind of stripes. So I'm gonna go really slow. I'm gonna do white, blue. I'm gonna color some of them blue and some of them white, just like that. I'm gonna notice the same thing is on her sari, hanging down by the crucifix. So we've got some blue and we've got some white. Cool. The rest of it is going to be white. What else am I gonna do? I'm noticing that this thing around her head is not on her picture here. This is actually something called a halo. And sometimes when you see a picture of a saint or somebody that's very close to God, they have a halo. That just means they're shining with God's light. And halos are usually shown with a yellow. So you can color your halo yellow. And then I'm going to show you what else we can do on our halo. So since saints are very close to God and shining with God's light, we can make our saint shine even more. Look what I'm doing. I'm drawing lines around her halo to make her shine even more. Ooh, she's very, very shining with God's light. What else can I do? Ooh, we need to color her shoes. Now, I'm always going to let you color the shoes any color you want. Think about what color St. Teresa of Calcutta might have as shoes. I'm going to give her today purple shoes, but you get to decide what color shoes you want to give her. I'm also going to get out my apricot. I'm going to color her hands, which are just poking out of her sari, which is her robe. And I'm going to color her face, which is also just poking out of her sari. Goes right around her face. And then I'm also going to draw the words at the bottom. So I'm not going to just scribble on top of them. I'm really going to try to write the letters with my marker. So we've got Saint is S-T. See how I'm doing that? And a little dot, it's called a period. And then her name, Teresa. T-E-R-E-S-A. Saint Teresa of is O-F. And then the city where she worked in India, Calcutta. C-A-L-C-U-T-T-A. And there we have it. It says at the bottom, God spoke to Saint Teresa and told her to start a new order of nuns that worked with the poor and the dying. And remember, she did. She called them the Missionaries of Charity. She spent her life in India taking care of the sick and teaching others to respect life. The end.